Hi, and welcome to another tutorial with Mitch Peterson. Here we're going to take a look at Prezi and see just what it can do. Now, this is the welcome screen for anybody with a new account. You'll see first off you can create a new Prezi, or it gives you a few different ideas of what you can do, templates, and kind of examples. So I'm going to click Create New. First things first, it is a fairly intense program. It takes a lot of computing power, and therefore it takes quite a while to load. So we're just going to take a pause right here. When it does finally load, you'll be met with a screen that looks like this. It has some popular templates. It also has a couple others that you can choose from. I'm partial to square ideas, so I'm going to go ahead with this assembly line idea. You can also start with a blank Prezi, which is complete open white space. Let's check this thing out. Again, this entire platform is based on a website, so all of those materials are going to be on the web itself. Don't be freaked out if you see something like this. As you scroll in and out, different images may change slightly, but on the left-hand side, you've got your navigation panel. Now, if you were beginning your navigation, it starts with number 1, and you can do this by either pressing the number 1 on here or in the navigation sidebar. If you were to click on number 2, it zooms you into where the next presentation slide is. So, before we start getting too busy into this, let me show you one of my favorite features, and that is the insert feature. Because most people have been using PowerPoint and are most familiar with creating PowerPoint presentations, but with a few clicks you can have a Prezi that it takes two-dimensional presenting to a new level, or a third dimension. So I'm going to find this farm animals PDF that I found online. It's this cute little thing. A couple things to remember. The conversion over here is both the uploading as well as the converting it into usable document pages for Prezi. So the larger the file, the more complex the pictures, the higher resolution. If you have any sound files, all those things are taken into account while it's converting and uploading into Prezi. Take a few more seconds. So it explains how to make this work. Drag your slides to the canvas, organize them into a meaningful structure. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a few seconds. And we're here. So you can see the entire piece. This was put together by Jennifer Baxter. It's something I found on Google. Scrolling all the way down, it shows all kinds of different different animals and an activity at the end. As it said, you need to take one piece and drag it into the panel. Automatically it drops it in the middle wherever you put it. By using a little hand, you can redirect it in different places. Something important to note is what number it is. This is a 7. So on the left-hand toolbar, number 7 is all the way at the bottom. This would not occur until after everything else. Something I like to do is drag it in between the prearranged bars. And I'll show you how that works in just a moment. So dragging each piece that you want to use. Fair use guidelines are fairly important. Now, again, it goes to the bottom of the list. I'm going to drag it to 3. Put this guy in there, 9, and we'll put it between 4 and 5. I may not use all of them, that's okay. Remember, I'm kind of staggering them out one at a time, and I'll show you why in just a moment. I hate birds, so we're going to move with cows and the pigs, and I think those will be the last two. And here we go. Again, let's drag it in between the last two. Perfect. So, this looks like an absolute mess, because it is. I'm going to get rid of the PowerPoint panel on the right-hand side. It gives me more working space. By dragging anywhere on the map, you can reposition the entire page. Also, of incredible importance are the subtraction, the zoom out, and the addition, the zoom in. These features will change your presentations incredibly. So let's scroll all the way up to the top, and let's see what this would look like if it was presented. Here goes nothing. So it's going to ask you if it's okay to navigate with your bars and your arrows on your keyboard. Go for it. Simple left and right navigation. This is the beginning slide. It moves into a slightly smaller slide, and number 1 brings me right to farm animals. Here we go, I've got a picture, it looks from a popular movie, and with the author of this particular PowerPoint. Her name is on here. Continuing right, it brings us to a different bracket, not to the piece below it, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So, not too shabby. You can get out simply by pressing Escape. It brings you back to the editor. Now, if you scroll in and out on your mouse, it will also add and subtract or zoom in and out. Let's get rid of a couple of these. I want to edit the path. If you edit the path and you zoom out, you'll see something that's probably pretty scary. It looks like Spider-Man sneezed all over. Instead, by editing path, you have this new option to remove this path point. If you do that to all the pre-existing path points, you're left with just your PowerPoints. And admittedly, this is a little easier in a blank Prezi file without a template, but it's still kind of fun to take a look at this. Remember, up in the top it says click any object to add it to its path. We're going to click Done. We don't want to see any of these other boxes. And because we don't want to see them, we're going to click on them and get rid of them. Pretty simple navigation tools. Let's see. Sometimes you do have to log in or zoom in to get them. Delete the different panels. Oh no, I just got rid of one that I wanted. Thankfully, there is a back and undo feature. Now the reason this happened is because I put my slide within the bracket that was already pre-existing. So something I'm going to have to do is move it out, and then I can get rid of this piece without affecting my presentation. I would guess the same thing's going to happen here. Exactly. So undo that, move it outside the frame, try again. Okay, so now each of these pieces are numbered, which means the first frame it'll show me is this guy right here. We know that because it's one here and it's one there. If you were to edit the path, it goes from 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kind of a color by number idea. So, what does this look like in presentation mode? A lot cooler. So here's the home screen, and we're in farm animals. To the next slide, fair use. Certain materials are included under the fair use exemption of the U.S. copyright law and have been prepared according to the educational fair use guidelines. This, too, being a tutorial, should fall under the same guidelines. Navigating through. Next, next, next. And finally, our good friends, the pigs. When you're done, you click right. It won't go anywhere else. That's it. So we're going to escape out of here, and in the top left-hand corner, you can view the save rather. It does automatically save by itself, and a couple things to note. I was able to change the name while we were recording by zooming out and finding where it asked you to click to add a new title. Now, if you hover over it and it doesn't light up, then it's not quite ready. You might need to zoom out further. See how now there's a blue box around it. By clicking in here, I can say Farm Animals Tutorial. Pressing Enter makes another line. It's more of a return than an acceptance. So just click outside. And if we were to move this far outside the frame, we could also add it as a path element by clicking Edit Path down at the bottom here. By adding it to as a 7th path element, this would happen last. But what happens if instead you want this to be the first thing that your audience sees? Drag it to the top. Seems simple enough. Let's also see what kinds of fun we can have just changing where these physical pieces are. So if number 1 is that piece, I can move number 2 here. I can move number 3. Maybe I'm going to go for a little kind of a spiral pattern. 4, 5, 6 will be where the pigs are, and 7 is there. Now, when you see the path itself, the pieces are connected in that spiral pattern. When you present it, it will move as those pieces should. Let's show you one more time what that might look like and how you might be able to use that in your presentation. I'm going to click on number 1 and present beginning with the first anchor point. So here's my presentation. Farm animals tutorial. Right hand arrow. Next right hand brings me back to the presentation. And you can see it's moving kind of in a jump spiral pattern. Now we're going to go upper. Now we're going to move back into our friends the pigs. Presentation's over. Pressing escape again. I have now finished my tutorial. Please keep in mind that Prezi can be used for anything from professional development to training seminars for HR. I hope you've enjoyed this particular tutorial. Please stop back again for another one in the future. Have a great night.